Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Journey to AHA. This week on our panel we have Amanda. She's from Sydney. She's a corporate trainer and business mentor. We also have Karen. She's from Hong Kong. She's the editor-in-chief from Where My Heart Leads. We have me from Sydney, who is going to really focus on not falling off this chair that I have that's on wheels and have a chat. And we've got Orla here from New Zealand.
Hello. Yeah, I'm going to be looking after your comments and your questions. So if you have any questions, comments, just put them into the comment box if you're watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on the Inside Teachings YouTube, you can put the comments in there. And I might be agreeing with them, I might be disagreeing with them. It depends on, I guess, how grumpy I am. Because if you know me, you know I can be grumpy.
That is true. So maybe before we start, we'll take a couple of moments just to take a few breaths, close our eyes, just relax, connect, just relax into being ourselves, whatever that is. Okay. How's everyone going? So hope everyone's well. As you know, we have been exploring aha moments. We've looked at them from the right, from the left. We've been around the roundabout a few times. We're looking at aha moments as bolts of lightning, or as messages from spirit or our intuition, something that changes our consciousness, where we can't see things the same way as we did before. Within that, we've also been talking about realisations and thinking that some of our ahas are maybe realisations and what's the difference between awakening. So we'd really love to hear what everyone has to share about this. And last week, Amanda mentioned one of her aha moments. So what's your journey been like with regards to these? You've been going in circles like me.
Yes. Thanks, Anita. I wanted to share how that aha moment came about and what's flowed from it, because I've been thinking for probably a year and a half about moving out of Sydney up the coast. And I was trying to buy a house, and ultimately the people didn't want to sell it for the price that I wanted to pay them. But anyway, and then I find sometimes I get aha moments. They just sort of drop into my mind early in the morning. Last week you guys were talking, I think Aresh was talking about that early morning. I find between waking up and getting up, usually I wake up before the sun rises. And anyway, it just sort of dropped in and said, it's not about the house that you want to buy, it's about moving. So I went, and that was about the time that COVID was starting, and within 3 weeks I'd moved up the coast after living for 20 odd years in Sydney, very close to the inner city. I'm now in a place with about 10 houses, and my life is totally different. So it was a big aha moment. Yeah.
Big shift. And has anyone else had the same experience or something completely different that we haven't considered? Because you may be holding a piece that, we haven't looked at before. So please feel free to share and comment what your experience is. And we also have, Karen, what's your experience been with aha moments?
Resonating with Amanda, like the time between waking up and actually getting up, like that's a really good time to get like some type of messages. And then for me also, like before I go to bed, like I was trying to put together a deck for a client. And then like, I guess like right before going to bed, like all the ideas came and it was like totally, usable. And then so I just kind of typed it all into my phone and I left it. And then by the next day, I was like, oh, okay, I need to do it the proper way. So I followed like this kind of a formula that a really kind of well-known deck writer uses. And then I spent the whole day doing it. And then I realized, like, before sending to the client, that actually the one that I got before I go to bed was the one that would work for him. So it's kind of like, it's so much easier sometimes to like kind of go with like, you know, what kind of pops into like that flow for you to run with. But I guess it was also like a good experience to you know, see the contrast. Like the day, like working through that formula, it was more grueling. It was like, you know, it was a different type of energy doing that work.
Karen, can I ask you, what is a deck? You said you were doing a deck for a...
Like a presentation.
Oh, a presentation.
Yeah, not like a patio deck.
I was also going to say, so when we were talking about aha moments, what was really clear was that they're pure intuition. So when you're not thinking about it at all, it just like it drops in, like you see the light. And the other really big thing that I hadn't realized, because I was thinking about realizations, was that it changes your consciousness. So how, in what you were saying, Karen, about when you're describing there, how like does that fit with what you were saying? Do you know what I mean? Is that, do you feel like that they're aha moments, or I don't know, could they be, I don't know, realizations, or
I feel like it's kind of like the universe is helping us, you know, like, you know, giving us easier ways out. And sometimes like we just work harder, like, you know, because we think it should be done that way, kind of thing. Whether it's a definition between whether it's an aha or realization, I feel like in a sense it doesn't matter so much, as long as it kind of like improves or shifts, you know, the way you work or the way you operate or the way you live. What do you guys think?
In exploring mine, I was convinced through the journey, like I said, bit to the right, bit to the left, round in circles a few times. What I felt for me were aha moments. I realized later that they were realizations, more up the alley of realizations. And in considering where through my Thai has someone said something or something just popped in out of nowhere that has completely shifted how I saw something. And it's not something that I was thinking about or working on. It purely came from intuition or spirit. And I couldn't not see it anymore. Like I couldn't not hear it. I couldn't not see it. And it just changed. Maybe like, you know, if I saw this, if I've been seeing the sky as red, suddenly it's like, oh my God, it's blue. And that it came from elsewhere. So that's been my experience. And every day I'm walking around going, if something's happening, oh, was that an aha or was that a realization? So it's like moving between the two. But yeah, mine have been becoming a bit realizations.
Have a little comment here. Excuse our guests whose face are being a little obscured. Harish says, I resonated with what Amanda mentioned about wanting to buy a house and then finding it was about the move, not buying the house. I find that happens often. We don't necessarily see it for what it is right away. Always take practice and awareness. What do you think?
If I could add to that, once I got the message, if you like, or the aha about moving, everything kind of fell into place. So there were other kind of messages from my intuition about, and there weren't any blockages. And it wasn't, I sometimes I have ahas or realizations and I override them. And it's usually I'm being very practical. And then I kind of go, well, that's not working. If I actually went back to what the message I got, I have a lot more success.
So is that how others are seeing and experiencing these as well? We'd love to hear.
Tracy Yeah, Tracy says, an aha I find the sudden burst of clarity on something I've been wondering about that changes my perspective. And it comes out of the blue. Yeah, like I find that it's something that definitely comes out of the blue. It's totally coming from guidance from spirit, but maybe I haven't been wondering about it at the time. You know, I feel like an aha moment is you are washing the dishes. Not that I wash the dishes very often, but you're washing the dishes, and that's when it'll just pop in. But it's like Tracy's saying, it's a sudden burst of ice. Oh my God, I see the light, and I can't believe I didn't. In a way, I can't believe I didn't see it before. It seems so clear and so obvious, you know. But yet, without that aha moment, I wouldn't have the new perspective. Yeah, I wouldn't have had the new perspective that I have, you know. Whereas for me, a realization, I think I realize it because I think about it, you know. Yeah, it's a little bit different. I don't know. Yeah, anybody else out there has a different. Maybe it might have a different definition, or maybe if you shared something last time. I know a few other people shared their moments. Now, do you feel that they are still aha moments, or realization, or even possibly clairvoyance? Because I think that's different again. Go ahead, sorry.
No, and especially if you're got an experience that's very different to what everyone is sharing, please feel free to share it, because it may be that piece that someone else is seeing it the same way, and we haven't seen it yet, which may end up being an aha moment for us. So please feel free to share.
Clara,
I feel like. Oh, sorry.
Karen, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Clara said, yes, as Tracy mentioned, a burst of clarity, and you suddenly get relieved, feeling peaceful. And yes, it is. Yeah, that kind of feeling. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Karen.
And I feel like kind of to resonate with like some of the previous journey to aha meetings that we've had online, like it's recognizing that aha or realization, and then like kind of carrying on with it, like, you know, like kind of holding it or referencing it, like so that it kind of informs or creates that new habit of operating.
Yeah, it's Sarupa saying, I've been thinking about ahas, and it's like a sudden realization. It's also the new beginning. As if you stop at aha, it's an oh.
Yeah, that's good one. I feel like I have an example of an O, which I can turn to an aha.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to be on a race, like a cycling team in high school, and I would cycle before like class starts, before 8 o'clock, to do a round. And that's a good time because there's no rush to like, practice with the teammates and such. So there was one time when I was cycling, I realized that, you know, the reason why race bikes like has the shoes like kind of like clipped on to the pedal is that you're kind of becoming one with the machinery. Like you have that same pace. And like when you get that momentum of like you moving forward and that like the earth kind of moving backwards, that's kind of like the magic moment when, you know, you don't have to exert so much energy, but you know, you just kind of like you have that momentum of going forward. So rather than training for just like going like harder and harder and like, you know, all the physical stuff, it's kind of finding that kind of balance, that magic kind of equation, I feel.
Yeah, the rhythm.
So Sarupa, can I ask, did your aha become an O? And if it became an O, did it go then to an aha? What did you do with it? Is that something you could willing to share with us? Is that how you went with it?
And while we're waiting for Sarupa to come back with that, Pia's asking, could you explain a bit more about the difference between an aha and a realization? Pia, you shared something last time. You shared an aha moment. Can you maybe? Would you say that's still an aha moment, or would you say the realization? That might be a place. That might be a place to start.
Yeah, it was around moving.
Oh yes, it's moving to
moving.
country. Yeah.
Yeah, was that something you had been working on? So my understanding, or how I'm seeing it, ahas are something out of the blue. We don't see it coming. They're pure bolts of clarity. Or was it something that maybe we were working on that the next piece has fallen into place along those lines? Is how I'm seeing realizations. Something I'm...
Yeah, I find the aha's got a energetic feeling. It's got an energetic feeling, and my body knows, or it's not just in my head. Realizations was something my mind is kind of going, oh, I get it, I've got the answer to the crossword. Whereas an aha is like all of me. That's how I would describe it.
So others feeling that sense more of a feeling around ahas as opposed to realizations? Are you feeling...
well, Marianne is talking about when we get them, as we were saying, literally any place, anytime. Sometimes I get aha moments in the shower or driving, they just pop in at random times. And Glynis says that my experience has been that when I act on an aha, everything flows so much more smoothly. Do you have an example of that, Glynis? Of acting on an aha and how that all came together. I think, Glynis, you might have shared last time as well. So I'm wondering if that would relate to what you shared last time. Haresh, we have a little comment from Haresh. I find I often ignore my spiritual prompts, and that's because my mind tends to argue out of them very subtly and quickly. I wonder how we can make these aha moments something we listen to from spirit all the time. What do you reckon? I'll ask our guests. What do you reckon? How do we make these aha moments something we listen to from spirit all the time?
Practice. Practice, because sometimes you override it, and then if you go, oh, okay, I can see that I overrode that, and it's like between my head and my intuition. Sometimes my head's very clever, and it makes it look like it's it's masquerading, but it's just practice. I lost my phone on the weekend, and my intuition was telling me go straight to the surf club at the beach. I went, no, much more practical to go and find it where I dropped it potentially. So I went all the way along the beach, and by the time I came back, someone was there at the surf club saying, oh, we found it.
Yeah. Intuition always knows best.
I know, but my mind was tricking me because it was going, oh, so practical, you need to do this first. No. Because sometimes the aha, or it doesn't make sense.
Yes, exactly.
It's not logical.
We think it doesn't make sense. Yeah, because we think it doesn't make sense. I've had that many times. Can I just, Sarupa has come back. We asked Sarupa a question. So Sarupa says it becomes an O when you stop at aha. It's the moving with the aha and not stopping at aha, if that makes sense. And looking back, the O is I got wowed by the aha and didn't move or be inspired by it and let it influence the change. Often aha, they're plot twists in good way, but I have to turn the page.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Now, I wonder, is that aha or realization? It's just a question.
Well, in classic storytelling, there's a point at which none of the characters are the same afterwards. So an aha to me is it changes things, whereas a realization, you go, oh, I got that and you just can carry on. Whereas a true, well, to me anyway, it changes everything. You're not the same. Changes the pathway.
So what does everyone else feel about this? Do you think it's something that changes you, changes your consciousness, changes you on a fundamental inner level or something different? And also how Haresh mentioned, if anyone's got any other ideas or comments about how to be aware of them or how to work with them, please feel free to share what you feel.
We have a comment from Doris. After an aha moment, we realize what we are prompted to do by spirit. So we know what we're prompted to do by spirit. And Tracy says, yes, aha stops you in my tracks. It's like what you said, Amanda, and automatically my body takes a deep breath. Haresh says, a great example, thanks, Amanda. And then Sarupa says, yeah, it could be, and it probably applies to both. There at the beginning, I think at the beginning of this exploration of aha, definitely I feel like we were on a boat going down a river that had many tributaries, and it's been really enlightening, that's the word, to see where something is more around what you're thinking, like your realization, and the difference between that and something that just changes you just because it is, you know. With the ahas. So with Karen, is there any other aha moments that you were thinking about? Well, thinking might be a realization. Last time, the one you shared last time about you were getting some chopsticks?
Yeah, I was so last time I shared I was getting some chopsticks because at home, like, we normally use some type of bone or, you know, like bone chopsticks, whereas like so I was like, oh, I should go and look for like that type of specific chopsticks, which is hard to find nowadays. But then the reason why I needed to buy new ones because I moved away from home. But then like on the way, like to look at those chopsticks at those specific stores, I was like, oh, wait a second, I don't need to get like those really expensive chopsticks. I can, like, I'm free to choose. I can get like plastic or bamboo or whatever. So it's like it kind of made me, well, realize, or, you know, like kind of come to the recognition that, you know, we sometimes, like, how we have been living has been so ingrained that it's like we don't realize that we've been kind of living that same, you know, way the whole time until we're like, oh, okay, you know, you're free to change. Like, however, you might be buying this type of toilet paper, you can, like, you know, buy another one. Like, you don't always have to stick with the same thing. So yeah, we're free to change. And
so do you feel that was an aha or a realization? And what does everyone else feel? Let's vote, and hopefully someone says something completely different, and that it's something completely different, just to get some see what do you reckon?
Doris says yes, so I'm assuming she's saying yes, that it's an aha. If I'm incorrect, Doris, let me know.
What do you reckon, Karen?
I think it was more like an aha, because I wasn't, you know, it wasn't something I was mulling over. I was just kind of intent on, you know, getting the chopsticks that I've used for the last 30 years. But it was like, boom, you know, you have other options.
Yes.
Look at them.
And what if, and did this change you fundamentally in some way? How we were talking about maybe that aha moments change us?
I feel like
that
chopsticks thing, as well as like kind of moving away, like just kind of freed me in terms of how I lived, right? Like, you know, there were the obligations, or, you know, it's like I could define a new way that I wanted to live. And there's so many different ways of living, like all four of us live differently, right? So it's like, how can we create the one that we enjoy?
Yeah, perfect.
Well, it sounds like that was an invisible pattern that you didn't realize you had.
I hate to say this, but you're not going to believe it. We come to the end of our time. Yeah, I know it's flown by. And we have some other comments that we haven't had time to put up, so thank you so much for your comments. Next week, if you go to the John the Beloved page, Helen will be doing her next Facebook Live. Let me just put this banner up for you. Her next Facebook Live, she's doing a series on Let's Talk Spirituality, and she'll be talking about intuition, so that'll be fantastic. So you can go there anytime between now and then, and on the night itself. And then we're back on August the 3rd, where our topic will be on a wing and a prayer. And we'll have a very special guest who we're going to keep under wraps for now. And then the only other thing I wanted to say to people is, if you're going to do the moon cycle meditation, it's going to start 10 minutes later to give people time to go from one to the other. If you don't know what the moon cycle meditation is, you can go to insightteachings.com and you'll see a little link to a free trial, and it'll tell you everything about the moon cycle meditation, so you're free to check that out. And other than that, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to our guests. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. Have a lovely evening or day, whatever time of day it is for you. Okay.
And feel free to keep sharing your aha moments.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear that. We're fascinated. Bye.
Bye.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.